Hi everyone, it's Gail. I'm here with a little bonus video. I received a letter from Mary. Thank you, Mary. Mary is a beginning junk journaler and she had a lot of questions, great questions. And so I've kind of pulled together some visual aids here and I'd like to attempt to answer Mary's questions. So, first of all, I have to show you, she sent this interesting card. How fun is that? Just for you because you're awesome. Isn't that fun? This is one of those things that makes my brain hurt. So if you can make this, Mary, you can do journal making. Because it's much more straightforward than all these foldy things that go every which way. I just don't even know. So anyway, thank you for that. Let's talk about Mary's questions here. So the first thing she asked is where to begin. What supplies do you need? And she has gotten glue. She's gotten art glitter glue and Fabri-Tac. I do have some beginner tutorials. I guess that's where I want to start. One of which is about glue and about paper, what paper to use when, that sort of thing. So, on YouTube, like if you go to my channel, there's a couple of headings, one of which is playlists. If you go to that, under the tutorials playlist, there's some beginner tutorials. A couple of simple journals to start out with, and then there is the one on glue and the paper. So that's a good place to start. She says she's found some old books, and she's practiced stitching in signatures, so that's great. As far as things you need, what I think is a way to go is as you find someone on YouTube that you really like their style, see what they're using and then try and pick up those sort of supplies. When you go to the thrift store, look for their crafty section. At our Goodwill, they have big sacks of things on the wall, and once in a while you'll be able to find a whole sack of craft supplies. And when you pay $1 or $1.25 for it, even if you don't use it all, it's worth it. So that's what I would say. Paper things that intrigue you, like when I go to an estate sale, I always look at the cookbooks and I look at the books and look for books like with pictures of flowers or butterflies or birds that I could fussy cut, that kind of thing. I think it's seeing what other people are using and then trying to beef up your own stash with those sorts of items. Doing my Etsy share videos. I don't just share digitals, I share other things too, ephemera that's made or little supplies like envelopes or sacks or things like that. So check those out too. Okay, so let's get started on her specific questions. Some of my questions are, okay, how do you decide how many pages go into a journal? Well, on a one signature journal, I like 15 to 20 pages. 15 if I'm going to heavily embellish, 20 if it's going to be more lightly embellished. And so, one of her questions has to do with what you put in, how many tags, journal cards, that sort of thing that you put into a journal. And it truly is up to your own artistic decision making. But as just an example, this journal that I just finished, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things on the pages. Now this one has, I think this one has maybe more than 15. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pages in this one. And it has 11 embellished pages, if you will, and then the front cover and the back cover. So maybe that's gives you a little bit of an idea of how much to put in. The other question that she had regarding signatures, she said most of her paper collection is scrapbook paper. Is that okay? Isn't it too thick? There's different weights. First of all, her follow-up question is, can you coffee or tea dye scrapbook paper? And so let me show you that first. So this is a page out of Hobby Lobby, one of their big paper packs, and you see it's a lighter scrapbook paper, and this is coffee dyed, and it coffee dyes great. It makes nice crunchy pages. It's really pretty good. But then, like, this is a Prima, and a Prima cardstock, and it's just a lot heavier, as is Blue Fern. But you can still make journals out of it. I wouldn't try to coffee dye this, just because it'll warp, and it's so thick that it's going to be hard to, like, this is, with it being thinner, it flattens out okay. Like, I'm not going to want to try and glue something like a backing on that, because it's bumpy from being wet when it was coffee dyed. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend coffee dyeing thicker scrapbook paper. But yes, you can make journals out of they're just a little different style maybe. And I love using the thicker scrapbook paper for these TN notebooks, and putting a decorative piece in the middle and then one as the cover. Here's another example. This was one that I recently completed using Blue Fern scrapbook paper. So the cover, once again, is scrapbook paper, and I think I have bits and pieces of the scrapbook paper throughout. Now, this could have been a full-size journal too. You know, yes, you can totally use scrapbooking paper to make your journals. So, so not to worry that you have a big stock of that and that you won't be able to use it, because you can. You totally can. So let's see. And she says you occasionally use rubber stamps, but never stickers. I do use stickers some. Let's see. Did I do it in this one? Which one did I do it in? Oh, it was these. So, for instance, somewhere in here, right here, is a pocket that I put a sticker on to decorate it. So yes, I do use stickers. I kind of forget, because they're across my craft room, and so I kind of forget about them, but I do like using stickers. And I use the washi stickers, like the flower washi stickers, like these, all the time. I use those all the time. So yeah, you can use your stickers. Junk journal, yeah, she's continuing to collect supplies. What else is a priority? Like I say, for me, a priority would be my vintage photo. I use it on everything, but I like everything kind of distressed. So that is something I use every day. And the glues. And then from there, I think it's just, if you want to collect lace, if you like lace in your journals, awesome. If you want to collect fabric, I use a lot of fabric in my journals, and fabric is really fun to make the covers out of too. So yeah, just whatever style you want to go for, you just start picking up some things like that. This was the how many tags, journal cards, pockets, belly bands, and envelopes do I include? So that one had 11 in a 16-page journal. Let's see, 16, it would have been, it's 32 pages. And so about a third of it, we could say, has some sort of embellishment on the page. Okay. I see so many times when you layer things, you will cover up other layers that I think were already great. I'm afraid to do that. Maybe a beginner hang up. I think that's sort of artistic preference. I really do. Let's see, where is... So some ephemera I made recently, like this one, I really like the simplicity of putting one thing on there. Whereas this one, I covered up all of the scrapbook paper almost, except the very edges. So it's just kind of the piece that you're working on, and yeah, when I do the embellishing or decorating of the collaged papers, I know sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, that collage paper is so pretty. Why are you covering it up? Well, I want a focal point on that piece is why. But yeah, sometimes if you have a more simple style, then maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you'd leave it just as it is. So yeah, and I don't think it's a beginner hang up. I think it's a thing with practice and with doing more. You're going to be able to almost feel what appeals to you. You're gonna know when it's just right, and that just comes with doing. I mean, my style now was not my style 4 years ago. It has evolved and changed, and and different products come out or different things. When I'm doing the blue fern projects, there's the blue fern has a lot of elements for scrapbookers. A lot like this is not necessarily my style. Putting what would you say, thick flowers on is not necessarily my style. Now, I love how this cover came out though. So that's the other thing, that sometimes if you push yourself to try something, that might inform your style as you go along. So that's a couple thoughts on that. Her next question is, what is the difference between boho and shabby chic, and what are they? So I would define boho as sort of if you think of a belly dancer's costume, all the elements of sequins and bright fabrics and beads and all of that, kind of a gypsy style or whatever. I feel like it's a really fun theme to work in, because it's like anything goes, and the blingier the better on boho. And so although there's some beautiful boho fabrics and trims and things that are more pastel colors too. So but that's what I think of for boho. And shabby chic is more, to me, more pastel colors, sort of soft, romantic, floral, lots of lace, that sort of thing. So I hope that helps. That's just my interpretation. Others might have a different interpretation. And then she says, finally, I know the difference between an altered book, where you remove the pages, and a junk themed journal, adding pockets, cards, belly band. What is preferred and how are they used differently? Well, I don't think one is preferred over the other. It's just what you want to make. Like, I love making altered books and have made many of them. They're so much fun. But I also love doing, journals like this that you start from scratch, because one of my favorite things to do is make covers. And this was one of my fabric paper covers that the base is fabric and then it's napkins decoupaged, many, many layers. So I do love making them from scratch. This one, I had never made this style before, where the pages actually are just held in. They're not sewn. And so you can add or subtract pages as you go, or take them out as you work on them. This, by the way, would be shabby chic to me. And so it's just whichever one you want to work on. And basically their functions are the same. I'm going to show you this one. This my friend Dee Dee made for me, and it's an altered book. And of course the cover is a book cover, so it's much different than like this bendy cover and that sort of thing. But they're the same. I mean, to put your memories in, to put pictures, to write in. See, there's a whole page to write. As we go into the book, these are decorative, but then there's journal cards to write on both sides in the page. So to me, that's really the only difference. It's kind of like the writing is tucked into spots in between decorative pages in an altered book. But here's coffee paper. Here's a big huge tag to write on the back. So or you could put a photo here and caption it, whatever. So the functions of both are the same in my view. It's to keep your memories, to write about your days, to keep a gratitude journal, whatever. It's just that they're different vehicles for the same activity of journaling. That's how I would say that. She said, maybe I just need to get started, but I'm so afraid of making a mistake. Maybe I just think too much. And I say it all the time. It's just paper. If you make a mistake, if you really don't like something, layer a few more layers on top and see if you can make yourself like it. I mean, maybe it will come together, or toss it. It's a piece of paper, so I do understand that hesitation, but the beauty of journal making, in my view, if you look across the spectrum of YouTube, you have Sagita, and her style is totally grungy, stuff sticking out all over, super distressed, very, very grungy, and there isn't a straight piece in one of her journals, I don't think. And I love her style. I have several of her journals and love them. But so there's everything from that to people who make more like journal album type things with their scrapbooking paper, and they are very precise and everything. I would say I'm somewhere in the middle. I like the grungy, and I also appreciate people who can do things like you did, Mary, with this. That's amazing. But the great thing is there's no rules at all. And I think you just do what makes your heart happy. When you have created even just a little tag or something, and you'll be like, oh, I really love this. Well, that's what you need to build on, and that's what you need to do. And there's no mistakes. Oh my goodness. I mean, the people who have been with me for years and years know how many mistakes I make, how many times I goof something up, and I just keep at it sometimes, and add more things, and then I end up liking it. Or I don't. And so off it goes. So I think it's so true. Just get started. Just start playing with I really recommend my beginner video on making it's a bag journal. Like, this is a big one, but it's a bag journal that is super easy to make. I think you can practice your sewing in the signatures, and again, it's a paper bag and it's some paper. So if you don't like it when you get done, oh well, stick it aside and keep going, keep practicing, and then maybe you'll want to rework it later. I have done that on journals too. So I think that's it. So all of her questions, I think I got them all answered. Anyway, Mary, thank you so much for asking these questions. I think they're important for people new to the craft, and it's such an awesome craft that I think I mean, so many people have said they're down the rabbit hole, is what they say, and it's so true. It's just like I 4 years ago never would have imagined doing what I'm doing now, and having all of you, my friends out there. I never would have imagined it, but it's awesome. It's a great, the possibilities truly are endless, from themes to the mediums we work with, to the types of paper, to the vintage, to the, to the shabby chic, to the boho, all of that. It's, farm journals, sewing journals, there's just so many. So I really enjoyed talking about it. I do love to talk about it. And so I just wanted to answer Mary. And I do apologize, Mary. I've had your letter sitting here for a month, and I just have been so busy with Christmas that I haven't taken time to do this. But I hope it's helpful to you. If anybody has any other questions or thoughts for Mary, that would be awesome to share in the comments. If you can add to what I said at all, or even if you feel like I'm wrong about something, let Mary know how you view her questions. That would be great. So thanks, everybody. Have a grateful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.